Right now, you are doing something no other animal on Earth can fully explain. You are aware that you are reading. You are aware that you are aware. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a quiet question is forming. One that philosophers, scientists, and our earliest ancestors never stopped asking. What makes you different? Not your brain. That is the part that surprises almost everyone. Your brain, the 3-pound organ sitting inside your skull right now, is not uniquely powerful. It is not the biggest. It is not the most efficient. A crow can solve puzzles. An octopus can recognize faces. A dolphin can grieve. Your brain runs on the same ancient hardware as creatures that have been on this planet for hundreds of millions of years. So why are you the one asking questions about it? The answer is far stranger than you think.
Neuroscientist David Eagleman has spent decades studying the brain, and one of the things he keeps returning to is how unremarkable the human brain looks up close. Slice it open, weigh it, count the neurons, you will find roughly 86 billion of them. That sounds like a lot, but an elephant has more neurons in its cerebellum alone. A sperm whale has a brain 5 times the size of yours. And yet, neither of them has built a hospital, written a song, or wondered whether any of this means anything. Size is not the answer. Complexity is not the answer either. The structure of your brain, the way it is folded, layered, wired, is extraordinary. But it is not fundamentally different from the brain of a chimpanzee. In fact, your DNA is 98.7% identical to a chimp's. That remaining 1.3% is doing a lot of work. But even that gap does not fully explain what happened. Because chimps are intelligent. They use tools, they have social hierarchies, they can learn sign language and use it to ask for things they want. But they have not built cities. They have not sent anything to the moon.
So what crossed the line? What made the difference? Anthropologist Joseph Henrich at Harvard University has spent years trying to answer exactly this. His conclusion is both humbling and astonishing. It is not that your brain is smarter than other animals. It is that your brain is better at one very specific thing: copying. You are, at your core, a copying machine. Henrich calls this cumulative culture. The idea is simple, but its implications are enormous. Every other animal that learns mostly within its own lifetime. A crow figures out how to use a stick to get food. It might teach that trick to one other crow. But if that crow dies, the trick usually dies too. The knowledge does not accumulate. It does not build on itself. Each generation, more or less, starts over. Your ancestors did something different. They watched, they copied, they improved, and then they passed the improvement on. A sharper stone tool became a blade became a spear became a bow. Each generation did not reinvent the wheel, they inherited it, and then they made it slightly better. Over thousands of years, this process created something no single human brain could have produced alone. It created knowledge that was bigger than any individual. You are not smart because of what is in your brain. You are smart because of what is between brains. And here is where it gets strange. Because this copying ability required something else to work, something your brain evolved specifically to do, and something no other animal does quite like you. You read minds. Not literally, but close enough to matter. Psychologist Simon Baron-Cohen at Cambridge University calls this theory of mind, the ability to model what another person is thinking, feeling, and intending. You do this constantly without realizing it. When someone pauses before answering you, you instantly run a simulation of what that pause might mean. Are they lying? Are they unsure? Are they choosing their words carefully? You are, at every moment, running invisible simulations of other people's inner worlds.
This is not just social intelligence. It is the engine of everything. Because once you can model what someone else knows, once you can ask yourself, what does this person understand that I do not? You can learn from them far more precisely than any animal that simply watches and imitates. You can ask, you can explain, you can teach deliberately. You can say, no, not like that, like this. And the person learning can say, I understand why. No other animal does this consistently. No other animal points at something just to share it with you. A chimp will point at food it wants, but it will almost never point at something simply to say, look at that, because it is interesting. Your brain is wired for shared attention, for saying, come see what I see. That changes everything. Now, add language, not just communication, true recursive language, the kind that lets you embed one idea inside another. The linguist Noam Chomsky spent decades arguing that this ability to construct infinitely complex sentences from a finite set of rules is unique to humans. And while the debate over animal language continues, nothing in the natural world comes close to what you are doing right now. You are receiving compressed ideas that existed inside another person's mind, transmitted through symbols, and reconstructing those ideas inside your own mind with enough accuracy to be genuinely moved, genuinely changed. That is miraculous. It is also so normal to you that you have never once found it strange. Language let your ancestors do something no animal had ever done. It let them store knowledge outside the body, in stories, in rituals, in carvings on cave walls. Cognitive archaeologist Francesco Dorico has studied prehistoric markings across dozens of sites, and what he found challenges everything we thought we knew about when human minds became truly modern. Symbolic thinking, the ability to let one thing represent another, appears far earlier than the explosion of art and tools we used to call the Great Leap Forward. Your ancestors were thinking symbolically long before we gave them credit for it. They were already doing what you do every time you read a word. A word is not the thing it describes. It is a symbol, an agreed-upon fiction that two minds use to transfer a piece of reality between them. When you read the word fire, something happens in your brain that is remarkably similar to what happens when you actually see flames. The symbol triggers the experience. Your brain does not fully distinguish between the map and the territory. That is how powerful symbolic thinking is, and it is almost entirely yours. But here is the twist. Here is the part that should make you sit with something uncomfortable for a moment. None of this means your brain is better. It means your brain found a workaround. Every other animal is optimized for its environment. A bat's brain is a masterpiece of echolocation. A dog's brain processes smell in ways yours never will. An eagle sees detail at distances that would be invisible to you. These are not lesser brains. They are different solutions to different problems. Your brain did not win an intelligence competition. It stumbled onto a particular combination of traits, social mirroring, symbolic language, cumulative learning, that happen to be extraordinarily useful for one specific thing: surviving almost anywhere. Not because you are the strongest, not because you are the fastest, but because you can share a solution across time. Because something a human being figured out 10,000 years ago can still save your life today. The knowledge did not die with its discoverer. It accumulated. It spread. It became civilization. You are not the product of a superior brain. You are the product of a superior network. And that network, that vast, invisible web of shared knowledge, shared symbols, shared attention, is the real answer to the question you have been carrying this whole time. Not what makes your brain special, but what your brain learned to do with other brains.
Think about the last time you learned something that genuinely changed how you see the world. It probably did not come from inside you. It came from a book, a conversation, a video, a story someone told you at the right moment. A piece of someone else's mind transferred into yours, and suddenly you were different.
That is the thing, right there. Your ancestors figured out how to become more than one person, how to pool their inner worlds and build something none of them could have built alone. And every time you read, every time you listen, every time you look at something and say, "Come see this," you are doing exactly what they did. Right now, you are doing something no other animal on Earth can fully explain. And now, finally, you know why.